When Lee Jun-ho appeared on set for the first time in his upcoming drama Taepyeong Corporation, the photos immediately went viral. Fans barely recognized him, not because of heavy makeup or digital effects, but because of a complete transformation that looked pulled straight out of a 1990s time capsule. The slick bridge haircut, the brown leather jackets, the patterned shirts, and the sharp, structured tailoring instantly caught attention. Everything about his appearance screamed retro sophistication, yet it was clear that this wasn't nostalgia for the sake of fashion. It was an intentional, character-driven design reflecting both the era and the internal evolution of his role. Taepyeong Corporation is set during the 1997 Asian financial crisis, a period of turbulence and change in South Korea. Everything from corporate structures to personal lifestyles was shifting. To capture that transitional moment, the production team decided on an aesthetic rooted in realism but saturated with visual identity. That's where Lee Jun-ho's look became essential. His character, Kang Taepyeong, is a young executive rising in the ruthless business world, navigating ambition and survival. His wardrobe, hair, and overall styling communicate more about his personality and status than any dialogue could. Let's start with the most discussed element: the bridge haircut. It's a bold return to a style that dominated Korean trends in the late 90s, parted down the middle, framing the face in symmetrical waves, slightly longer at the sides. This haircut, once seen as the mark of youthful confidence during that decade, has become a visual code for a certain kind of charisma: intelligent, self-aware, and ambitious. The hairstyling team reportedly spent weeks perfecting the texture and flow, using actual 90s reference magazines and old advertisements to make sure it wasn't just a modern version of the look, but an authentic recreation. The hair doesn't just represent an aesthetic choice, it's symbolic of transformation. Early in the show, Kang Taepyeong is introduced as an idealistic young professional still adjusting to corporate life. His neatly controlled hairstyle mirrors his personality at that stage: structured, precise, eager to fit in. But as the episodes progress, his hair subtly changes, looser, more natural, occasionally falling over his forehead, signaling his growing independence and rebellion against the corporate machinery. It's small, almost invisible in the moment, but when viewers look back, they'll notice that his hairstyle becomes a silent storytelling device. Then comes the leather. In Taepyeong Corporation, leather jackets and coats aren't just wardrobe choices, they're social markers. During the 90s in South Korea, leather symbolized ambition and affluence. It was the outerwear of people who wanted to stand out in a society defined by conformity. For Lee Jun-ho's character, the leather jacket represents a blend of youthful defiance and newly acquired confidence. The production team sourced authentic leather pieces inspired by late 90s streetwear and designer lines that shaped the fashion language of that era. Each jacket is slightly oversized with sharp shoulders and matte finishes, a far cry from modern slim fits. Costume designer Park Ji-yoon explained in an interview that the goal was to make every outfit historically consistent without looking like a caricature. The fashion in Taepyeong Corporation avoids cliches. There are no exaggerated bell-bottoms or neon prints. Instead, the wardrobe reflects the restrained luxury and business-formal tone of the era. Kang Taepyeong's palette moves through browns, grays, and dark blues, colors that reflect both the seriousness of the corporate world and the quiet ambition of a man trying to find his identity amid crisis. Viewers have already started calling the show's look business noir. The sharp suits, monochromatic styling, and minimalist accessories create an atmosphere that feels suspenseful, echoing the show's thriller-like tone. Every costume detail feels deliberate. The choice of double-breasted jackets over single-breasted ones, the looseness of the trousers, the simple metal watches, the use of tie clips, all these were chosen to communicate a sense of period-accurate professionalism while maintaining visual tension. What's most fascinating is how the production used fashion as narrative. The clothes aren't background decoration. They evolve with the story. In the beginning, Taepyeong's suits are perfectly tailored, his collars crisp, his ties symmetrical. But as the drama intensifies and the corporate world becomes more corrupt, his outfits reflect subtle disorder. A tie left slightly askew, sleeves rolled up, a jacket left unbuttoned during high-stress moments. These tiny imperfections mark the psychological wear of the character and ground him in realism. Photographers working on Taepeng Corporation also helped amplify this aesthetic. Instead of over-polished lighting, they used warm tones and low contrast to emulate 1990s film cameras. The slightly grainy texture and muted colors add authenticity, giving each still image a feeling of nostalgia. Lee Jun-ho's retro styling blends seamlessly into this visual language, making every frame look like a snapshot from a real moment in time rather than a stylized recreation. Fans have noticed another visual element: the accessories. Minimalist silver chains, retro watches, aviator sunglasses, and analog pens are used sparingly but meaningfully. Each accessory connects to the personality of the character. For instance, Taepeng's watch isn't flashy but precise and understated, reflecting a man who values control and timing. Even the briefcases and leather shoes used on set were modeled after 1990s Korean corporate trends, sourced from vintage markets rather than costume warehouses to ensure material authenticity. The wardrobe team collaborated closely with hair and makeup artists to ensure total cohesion. The makeup palette follows the same logic: matte tones, natural shadows, no modern gloss or digital brightness. The goal is to recreate the natural, slightly rugged texture of the decade before HD filming became standard. Under the subtle lighting, Jun-ho's skin tone looks less cinematic and more lifelike, which reinforces the realism of his transformation. Another layer of detail comes from how the wardrobe interacts with the physical setting. The 1997 corporate environment of Taepeng Corporation includes office interiors filled with brown wooden desks, metal cabinets, and fluorescent lights. Against this muted backdrop, Taepeng's leather jackets and tailored suits stand out sharply, making him appear both part of and apart from his surroundings. It's a visual metaphor, a character navigating conformity while trying to break free from it. Interestingly, the creative team used color psychology throughout the series. Early episodes emphasize cooler tones like gray and navy to represent detachment and hierarchy. As Taepeng's story evolves and he begins taking risks, warmer shades like brown and deep burgundy start to dominate his wardrobe. These colors evoke groundedness and determination, contrasting the cold steel environment of the corporate world. The retro 90s vibes that have become the focus of online discussion aren't just a stylistic choice, they're a cultural statement. The 1990s marked South Korea's transformation from a developing economy to a global powerhouse. Fashion mirrored that: sleek, ambitious, and status-driven. By reviving this look, Taepeng Corporation connects its story to the historical pulse of that time, when appearances mattered as much as ethics, and image was often the only protection in an unstable world. The bridge haircut itself has started trending again online, with fans sharing comparison photos of Jun-ho's new look alongside vintage K-pop idols and actors from the 1990s, such as Jang Dong-gun and Bae Young-jun. It's an aesthetic revival fueled by nostalgia and admiration for how seamlessly Jun-ho embodies the era. Some stylists have even noted that his look could redefine 2025's men's fashion trends in Korea, merging retro silhouettes with modern tailoring. The attention to detail doesn't stop at clothing. Even his posture and physical gestures were shaped by the period. During rehearsals, Jun-ho reportedly studied archival footage of business leaders and public figures from the late 90s to mimic their movement style, more formal, less casual, with deliberate hand gestures and reserved body language. This dedication adds another layer to his portrayal, giving authenticity to how his retro look feels lived in rather than staged. Lighting and camera framing further accentuate the retro aesthetic. Directors use shallow depth of field to create a soft focus effect that replicates the texture of analog film. Instead of digital clarity, there's warmth and slight blur, a conscious choice to match the emotional tone of the series. Lee Jun-ho's visuals dominate every frame, but not through glamour. It's the texture, the detail, and the discipline of the period styling that draw the eye. Behind-the-scenes stills released by the production show Jun-ho reviewing his scenes while still dressed in his vintage wardrobe, rolled sleeves, half-buttoned shirt, and that unmistakable bridge haircut falling slightly over his eyes. The simplicity of those images carries weight because it encapsulates the intersection between performance and design. He isn't just acting within the 90s, He looks and moves as if he belongs there. Social media reactions exploded after those images surfaced. Fans called it Junho's best styling era, praising how the look enhances his versatility as an actor. Industry insiders noted that the design choices align with a broader cinematic trend in South Korean dramas, a move toward period authenticity and visual storytelling through costume rather than dialogue. Fashion analysts have pointed out that the Taepyeong Corporation aesthetic could influence upcoming corporate-style dramas, setting a new benchmark for how period realism can coexist with sleek storytelling. The balance between nostalgia and sharp modern direction gives it a cinematic texture rarely seen in television. For Lee Junho, this transformation signifies more than just a wardrobe change. It's a reinvention of image. After years of roles emphasizing charm and romance, Taepyeong Corporation presents him as complex, grounded, and mature, a man shaped by time and circumstance. His retro look functions not as a costume but as a visual manifestation of the story's themes: ambition, adaptation, and survival during an era of upheaval. The bridge hair, the leather jackets, the earthy tones, and the precise tailoring all contribute to a coherent aesthetic that mirrors the turbulence of the late 90s. It's controlled chaos, polished on the surface, unpredictable underneath. That's exactly what defines both the fashion and the character. By the time the series airs its final episode, viewers won't just remember the business drama or the psychological tension. They'll remember the image of Lee Junho, the silhouette, the hairstyle, the aura. The look is destined to become one of the defining visual signatures of his career. In Taepyeong Corporation, fashion is narrative. The 90s aesthetic isn't nostalgia, it's storytelling. Every button, every hair strand, every frame contributes to the world building. And Lee Junho, embodying every layer of it, from his bridge hair to his commanding suits, turns the retro look into something timeless. This isn't just a throwback. It's a visual thesis on transformation, identity, and the enduring power of style as silent storytelling.